Hi, I'm Patrick McLennan with more searing soap storylines. At her best, Cat Moon is a woman not to be trifled with. At her worst, she's like an atomic bomb explosion, best viewed from 50 miles away. Alfie's doing his best to support her. It's not his baby after all, but she's inconsolable and vicious to him and Charlie. Alfie tells Ronnie it's probably best if she doesn't attend the funeral, and she's worried the wailing baby senses that she's not his real mum. On the day of the funeral, Alfie tries to console Cat, while Ronnie watches from a distance and sees Cat completely break down at the graveside. So Ronnie is driven to put right her terrible wrong. She goes home, collects James and heads to the Vic. But will she really hand him back? Meanwhile, Cat attacks Charlie, not only for neglecting Tommy, but also for the way he let her mum take Zoe off her, and a crestfallen Charlie leaves the square. Carol tells Connor that things have to end between them, especially as Tiff is onto them. So to get over his heartache, he falls into bed with Whitney. But Connor isn't finished yet. Later he forces Carol to get into a car with him and desperately asks why she can't just admit she loves him. Also, Jack sells his share of R&R to Phil and buys into Max's car lot, and Phil offers Glenda the front of house job. Can't wait to see Shirley's reaction to that. Next we're in Weatherfield. John Stape's House of Cards always had the dodgiest foundations, and Colin's mother Joy may just be the gust of wind that brings it all down. Fizz calls him to say Hope is well enough to be held, and he carelessly picks up the phone when it rings again. But Joy wants to know why he has Colin's phone. The walls cave in on John and he shocks Joy when he confesses everything. Suddenly Joy collapses, begging for angina spray. But John lets her gasp. Then he has to make a run for it when a neighbour catches him trying to remove Joy's body. Later, Fizz reads of Joy's death in the paper and asks him when he last visited her. How's the weasel going to wriggle out of this one? Leanne and Peter return from their romantic break, hardly looking like a couple of blissed newlyweds. They row about Peter going back to work and he throws her out, but then he falls out of his wheelchair and lays on the floor, a broken man. His unlikely ally is Nick, who finds him with a bottle of wine. But far from helping him, Nick maliciously encourages him to fall off the wagon. Becky is released from jail, pending further inquiries, which relieves Tracy's real attacker. But who is he or she? Meanwhile, Claire celebrates her birthday at the Rovers and chooses the occasion to make a sudden, surprise exit from the street. Finally, it's Emmerdale. This village sure gets more than its fair share of man-made catastrophes, and as it's 2011, it's time for another, a raging inferno. Zack leaves a bin full of rubbish outside Victoria Cottage, and an anonymous figure seizes the chance to douse it in petrol and set it alight. The fire catches immediately and quickly spreads to the adjacent properties. Andy, Carl, Ashley and Ryan heroically do their best to beat back the flames, but it's out of control. Who's in danger? Betty collapses while smoke fills Keeper's cottage, and Chaz, Katie and Jenny are trapped in Victoria Cottage. Elsewhere, Brenda and Terry are in danger in the B&B, while Viv is trapped in the shop. Who survives? Who dies? Info is deliberately tight, but I can tell you the police immediately launch a murder investigation. Maisie Wilde is about the least excited bride-to-be in history, and can't get enthusiastic about a ring or an engagement party. Sure enough, after Will snaps at Nikhil, Maisie tells him she's sorry, she can't go through with it. And with that, Maisie and Will set off to make a fresh start.